Okay, hello geographers. We are looking at your graded assignment 2 that you'll be doing during the ARP. Okay, so I'm not going to give you the answer, of course, but I will analyze with you to give you ideas. All right. So the more we practice analysis, the sharper and shorter our answers will be. Okay. First question, you're asked to describe and explain the global distribution of malnutrition. All right. Global distribution means the distribution for the whole world, and you're given 5 marks. Okay, so what it means is that probably 2 marks is for describing, okay, and 3 marks is for explaining. Usually if you have 5-mark question, usually you have explaining and describe, more marks tends to be given to explaining. Okay, so the global distribution, what you need to talk about, you need to talk about the general, you need to talk about the anomalies, okay, and you give reason why they are like this. All right, now why is there malnutrition? Malnutrition is caused by insufficient consumption or not enough nutrients consumed. So in your 3 points, you must point out the 3 marks for explaining. You must give me 3 steps. The first step is the reason, based on any of the factors you have learned. Okay, if you're not sure, you can always go back to your notes that we talked about last week, CW4. Okay, so you have learned a lot of these possible reasons. Pick one that makes sense to explain. All right. So, and then you need to end off with explaining how it leads to malnutrition, or rather insufficient food consumed, and then why this place to have malnutrition, okay, or high rates of malnutrition. Okay, today you have learned that it's caused by insufficient food consumed, right? Okay, so you need to link the factors to insufficient food consumed, and therefore leads to malnutrition. Okay, how do we group them? Remember when we describe especially for human job, you need to group your data. Okay, so remember I told you try grouping them by DCs, LDCs first. The higher one goes where, the lower one is where, and things like that. Okay, and then if DC, LDC don't work, you can always go by human regions. All right, so let me frame it for you. When you have distribution of a range of data, you need to tell me generally the higher rate of malnutrition. What's the data? Please use the legend to help you. Is found at, well, the lower rate of malnutrition. How many percent is found at? Okay, so what's the pattern? And then if there's any anomalies, please tell me the anomalies. All right. Next, I'll move on to the next question. Okay, explain the impacts of insufficient food consumption on individuals and countries. So if you have 5 marks, and impacts means that you need to talk about more than one impact. So you need to talk about one impact on individual. This one can be 2 to 3 marks. You need to talk about impact on countries, 2 to 3 marks. So that total is 5 marks. Okay, so just to this lesson, we have covered the impacts. Okay, we have covered the impacts on individual. So insufficient, which are the ones for insufficient? Just pick one, and then you can also talk about impact on the national. Any of these 5. Okay, so you pick and choose what you need to do for that 5 marks. All right. Last one. If you're doing essay, the impact of insufficient food consumption on individuals is more important than impact on country. How far do you agree? Explain your answer. All right. So remember, you need to talk about both sides first. Okay, so I repeat, this is optional. You need not do, but if you want to do, I'm more than happy to mark for you. Okay, but I'll let you decide based on your workload. So if you agree, it means that you agree that impact on individual is more important. So you need to show me how insufficient food consumption impact on individual. Okay, that's the agree side. And if you disagree, then it must be on the impact on country. So there are national impacts. All right. Then what to explain is more important. The impact is important. How do you show something is important? Remember I told you before, important means that it can be because it's large scale. It can be important because it's long term. Okay, so maybe you need to go on to explain how the impact is a long term thing, or it's a large scale thing, can affect the whole country, can affect multiple countries, or what. Okay, so I give you a hint. In the notes today, you have already had some ideas about the impact. You just need to link it to whether it's long term or big scale. Okay, likewise for here, you just need to make sure whether this impacts, this explanation, does it talk about long term or big scale, or even both. Okay, and since your explanation is largely large scale or long term, then therefore your conclusion weighing, you need to consider weigh between which is a larger scale or which is a longer term effect. Okay, and if one of the impact is both larger scale and longer term, then that will definitely be the more important one. Okay, now because it is a group of factors, individual versus country. So by right, let's say because individual you have a few, right? For insufficient, you have starvation, you have malnutrition, and here you have the various ones like the debts lah, you have the scavenging, you have the political unrest, and of course you have the diversion of financial resources to healthcare. You also have the lower economic productivity. Okay, by right, you should be trying to argue for a total of 3 factors, 3 impacts. So that means can be 2 here, 1 over here, or 1 from individual, any 2 from country level. Okay, so if you are willing to try, I'm more than happy to mark. If you're not really, if you don't have the time, it's okay, you can leave it for revision next time. Okay, so I hope this helps you better understand the requirements for your practice. Please do so and submit by 6 p.m. See you.